Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we are going to look at the top 5 best faith weapons in Elden Ring, the best of the best S tier category. Quick shout out to our sponsor AOE.com. If you don't have time to grind for items or runes and you want items real quick, use my code COLD for 3% off. Since you guys are here, I also did a video on the top 5 best intelligence weapons in Elden Ring. If you missed that video for whatever reason, I will put a link at the top of the screen right now. I have to be honest with you guys, I love making faith builds in Elden Ring. Honestly, some of the best builds I've made were faith builds, and I appreciate you guys so much for all the support on those videos. But today specifically, I want to look at the top 5 best faith weapons to use. Now, there's a handful of incredible faith weapons in Elden Ring, but honestly, there's 5 weapons that stand out personally to me. The first weapon on our list today, and keep in mind this is in no particular order whatsoever, is the Blasphemous Blade. You are rewarded with this incredible faith greatsword after defeating Rykard, which is a boss, an optional boss at the Volcano Manor. Some may argue that this is probably the best faith weapon in Elden Ring just because of the Taker's Flame weapon art. The Taker's Flame skill causes so much destruction, it gives you health back on kill, and it does so much damage to the point where it outperforms most of the weapons in the game. You can see here we are level 250. Our main attributes on this build, we have vigor at 60, strength and dexterity both at 55, and we have faith at 80. Our Blasphemous Blade is fully maxed out, and with 55 strength and dexterity along with 80 faith, that's going to put our physical attack power to 296 plus 265. This weapon also does fire damage, and I'm going to show you guys the best talismans to use for a weapon like this. We have 191 plus 163 fire damage. The Blasphemous Blade scales evenly with both strength and dexterity, and it also has B tier faith scaling when you fully max it out. Keep in mind you need at least 22 strength, 15 dexterity, and 21 faith to wield this incredible greatsword. I also want to show you guys the absolute best way to use this weapon to get the most amount of damage possible. I'm going to recommend some incantations as well as the best in slot talismans for the Blasphemous Blade. For the incantations, I recommend using Golden Vow, which is going to increase your offense and defense by 15%. This is going to stack with Flame Grant Me Strength, which increases your physical and fire affinity attack power by an additional 20%. For the talismans, I recommend using the Shard of Alexander, which is going to greatly boost the attack power of skills, giving you more damage with your Taker's Flame ability. You also want to use the Fire Scorpion Charm, which raises your fire attack. Since this talisman lowers your damage negation, I highly recommend using the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which enormously boosts physical damage negation. And last but not least, the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises attack power when HP is at maximum. For your Wondrous Physic mix, your absolute best options are the Flame Shrouding Crack tier, which temporarily boosts fire attacks, paired with the Cerulean Hidden tier, which eliminates all FP consumption. The next weapon on our list today, one of my personal favorites, is the Sacred Relic Sword. You are rewarded with this weapon after you defeat the final boss in the game, and if you decide to use this weapon on your second playthrough with your faith build, trust me, it is going to destroy anything that gets in your way. I am not over-exaggerating, you guys. The Wave of Gold weapon art on the Sacred Relic Sword will literally destroy anything in front of you. The Wave of Gold ability is a wide golden wave that fans out forwards, sweeping through all enemies caught in its path. When I first used this faith weapon, I was actually surprised with how far the range was on the Wave of Gold weapon art. To be honest, in most situations, your enemies won't even have a chance to attack you. They won't even be able to get close enough to do anything. The Sacred Relic Sword is definitely top tier, and in my personal opinion, it is a must-have for faith builds. At level 250 with 55 strength and dexterity along with 80 faith, our Sacred Relic Sword plus 9 has 271 plus 236 physical attack power. Keep in mind this weapon also does holy damage, 175 plus 103. One thing I will say about the Sacred Relic Sword in particular is it heavily favors dexterity over strength when it comes to attribute scaling. So it's important that if you want to focus primarily on this weapon, especially with your regular attacks, you want to make sure you focus on dexterity over strength. And keep in mind, in order to wield this weapon, you need at least 14 strength, 24 dexterity, and 22 faith. The best talismans to use for the Sacred Relic Sword specifically is the Shard of Alexander, which is going to greatly boost the attack power of our skills. We have the Sacred Scorpion Charm, which raises our holy attack. Keep in mind this is going to lower our damage negation, and similar to the Blasphemous Blade setup, we also want to use the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which is going to enormously boost our physical damage negation. Finish the build off with the Ritual Sword Talisman, which is going to raise our overall attack power when our HP is at maximum. For your Wondrous Physic mix, I highly recommend using the Holy Shrouding Crack tier, which temporarily boosts holy attacks, along with the Cerulean Hidden tier, which eliminates all FP consumption. The third faith weapon on our list today is the Halo Scythe. Easily one of the best faith weapons in Elden Ring due to the Miquella's Ring of Light weapon art. Now, I'm a huge fan of ranged attacks, and sometimes you will run into some enemies that you don't want to get close to. I'm happy to say that the Halo Scythe Miquella's Ring of Light ability does a lot of damage. It is very reliable, which is the reason why this weapon specifically deserves a spot on the top 5 faith weapons list. Similar to the Sacred Relic Sword on our list today, this weapon also does holy damage. The Halo Scythe is a great primary weapon, but in case you wanted to use, for example, the Blasphemous Blade or the Sacred Relic Sword as your primary, the Halo Scythe works great as a secondary because sometimes you do need those ranged attacks to finish off your opponents. If you want to get your hands on the Halo Scythe, you'll have to go to Caelid. In the middle part of Caelid, there is a swamp area which is going to have the Clean Rot Knight enemies. The Clean Rot Knights are the enemies you will need to farm in order to get your hands on one of the best holy faith weapons in Elden Ring. You can see here my Halo Scythe is plus 9, my character is level 250, we have 55 strength and dexterity, 80 faith on the build. Our physical attack power on the Halo Scythe is 271 plus 232. Similar to the Sacred Relic Sword, this weapon also does holy damage, 175 plus 57. Our dexterity scaling is at C, faith scaling at D. You need at least 13 strength, 16 dexterity, and 15 faith to wield this weapon. Another added bonus to the Halo Scythe, it also causes 55 blood loss buildup. To get the most amount of damage with your Halo Scythe, I recommend using the Shard of Alexander, which is going to greatly boost the attack power of Miquella's Ring of Light. We also have the Sacred Scorpion Charm, which raises our holy attack, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which enormously boosts physical damage negation, and since most of your attacks are going to be from range, you want to use the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises your overall attack power when HP is at maximum. The Halo Scythe performs best using the Holy Shrouding Crack tier, which temporarily boosts holy attacks, finishing it off with the Cerulean Hidden tier, which eliminates all FP consumption. The fourth faith weapon on our list today is a curved greatsword called the Magma Wyrms Scale Sword. Not only are curved greatswords extremely satisfying to use as a primary weapon, but this faith weapon specifically is definitely one of the best. The Magma Wyrms Scale Sword has an incredible weapon art called the Magma Guillotine. Grab the scale sword with both hands, leap forward, smashing it into the ground and triggering a blast of magma. Follow up with an additional input to perform a chopping attack. Aside from the incredible weapon skill that this curved greatsword has, this weapon also has very good strength and faith scaling, which means very high physical attack power and lots of extra fire damage. You can see here our Magma Wyrm scale sword is +9 and at level 250 with 60 vigor, 55 strength and dexterity, along with 80 faith. We have 262 plus 273 physical attack power, along with 170 plus 153 fire damage. As I just mentioned earlier, this weapon has incredible strength and faith scaling, B tier, and keep in mind, in order to use this weapon, you need at least 24 strength, 15 dexterity, and 18 faith. If you want to get the Magma Wyrm scale sword, you will need to progress far enough in the game to where you reach Liurnia. Following the river above here, you will eventually reach an area called the Ruin-Strewn Precipice. Once you climb the ladders and fight your way through all of the enemies, you will eventually fight a Magma Wyrm at the end. Defeating this boss is going to reward you with the Magma Wyrm scale sword. For the incantations, I highly recommend using Golden Vow, which is going to increase your offense and defense by 15%. This will stack with Flame Grant Me Strength, which increases your physical and fire affinity attack power by an additional 20%. The best talismans on this build to use, keep in mind this is my personal recommendation. We have the Shard of Alexander, which is going to greatly boost the attack power of skills. The Fire Scorpion Charm, which is going to raise our fire attack. The Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which enormously boosts physical damage negation. And last but not least, we have the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises attack power when HP is at maximum. For your wondrous physic mix, I recommend using the Flame Shrouding Crack tier, which is temporarily going to boost fire attacks. And we have the Cerulean Hidden tier, which eliminates all FP consumption. The last faith weapon we have to take a look at today is Maliketh's Black Blade. I believe this weapon deserves a spot on the top 5 faith weapons list because it's extremely reliable, it does a lot of damage, and also I wanted to include a weapon that works incredibly well on bosses. The Destined Death ability on this weapon is great because in addition to dealing immediate damage to your target, this attack reduces the enemy's maximum HP and continues to wear down HP for a short time. If you want to get your hands on this incredible faith weapon, you do have to defeat one of the hardest bosses in the game, Maliketh, but trust me, it's definitely worth it. We have Maliketh's Black Blade at +9. Our character is level 250. We have 55 strength and dexterity, as well as 80 faith. This is going to give us 292 plus 304 physical attack power and 189 plus 154 holy damage. The reason our physical attack power is so high is because this weapon has incredible strength scaling. We also have C tier faith scaling. Attributes required to use this weapon, you need at least 34 strength, 12 dexterity, and 20 faith. For the talismans, I recommend using the Shard of Alexander, which is going to greatly boost the attack power of skills, the Sacred Scorpion Charm, which raises our holy attack, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which enormously boosts physical damage negation, giving us more survivability, and the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises our attack power when HP is at maximum. For your wondrous physic mix, you should definitely use the Holy Shrouding Crack tier, which is going to boost your holy attacks. This pairs very nice with the Cerulean Hidden tier, which eliminates all FP consumption. Well guys, that is my top 5 list for the top 5 best faith weapons to use in Elden Ring. If you enjoyed this video in any way, shape, or form, a thumbs up would be very much appreciated. Also, if you want to see more Elden Ring videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe to the channel, become a part of the family, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.